is it best practice to do everything in a sandbox and push any changes via change sets? The answer to that is an emphatic yes. And even if it's some innocuous, small little change, and it seems like, let's say, for example, you were in contact record and someone just wanted some field that already existed to be updated on a page layout. So it's like, oh, I'm just going to make this one small change to this page layout. I'm going to just do it in production. And I'm going to try and remember to do it in all the different sandbox and developer environments, et cetera. That can have some pretty dire consequences, and it's really easy to make a big mess of things if you don't push from sandbox to production. And usually there's several staging environments along the way. You will have, I've worked in instances where I have my own developer account and every developer has their own developer account, and we don't even have access to production. It's very similar to this boot camp scenario to where, I've provisioned sandboxes for all of you and I have access to all of your sandboxes, but you don't have access to my production instance beyond being able to push change sets up to production. And then I can choose to validate and deploy once it hits production or not. And but if you make a change in production, then any of the developers or admins or consultants or whomever has access to production and can push change sets, if, let's say, and this has happened to me before, I make some small innocent little change and try and sneak it in real quick because somebody needs a favor or it's late at night and they're like, hey, can you just do this real quick? And then like the next day or even like 30 minutes later, it's weird how when you try and sneak something in, that's the very thing that someone else is working on. And I've had it to where someone else is working on something that's part of a bigger project and they push their changes and their page layout, and that wipes out the change that I just made for someone. And so it's just a matter of communication then. And so it does need to go through proper channels, and that starts with, like a developer environment. And then a lot of times there will be changes pushed to like QA and then to like user acceptance testing. There's a lot of different ways that this is done. And then once the users sign off on it, sometimes there's like a staging environment and or a training environment if people need to be trained before something goes live. And you'll see, like, the larger the organization, if you're getting into like thousands of users, those are the sorts of scenarios where you'll see a lot more sandboxes and a lot more environments for QA and staging. And a lot of that is just to make sure that nothing's going to break, and then finally pushing it to production. And then those pushes to production, especially in larger organizations, they will have either 1 or 2 week sprints in like an agile environment and push those things out, usually like after hours, like weekends. If there's people inside of Salesforce all the time, they send out like an alert saying, okay, we're scheduling a downtime. And there's ways that you can set Salesforce where no one can log in for like 30 minutes while you push changes. And that's pretty rare, but it does support that functionality as well. So yeah, it's best practice to just do things through change sets.